Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the From the Heart Business Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we're on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Daryl Amy.
If you love the Selling from the Heart podcast, then you know how much we value authentic leadership and building relationships with heart. But here's the thing, great leadership doesn't stop with sales. It starts at the top with CEOs who inspire trust, create meaningful cultures, and lead with purpose.
That's why we're excited to invite you to get involved with the Culture from the Heart podcast. On Culture from the Heart, we celebrate CEOs who are transforming their companies by putting people first. And we're asking you to help us find them.
Do you work for an incredible leader? Know a CEO who builds culture from the heart? Nominate them to be interviewed on the show. Together, let's spotlight the leaders who make businesses thrive by leading authentically.
So head over to cultureFromTheHeart.com to submit your nomination today. Because when leadership starts with the heart, culture and success follow.
Hello and welcome back to Selling from the Heart. Your co-host, Daryl Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
What isn't going on? Hey, you know what? I love when we have repeat guests on the Selling from the Heart podcast. This is my most favorite repeat guest. We're in for a treat, Daryl Amy.
Well, something tells me that even though this is a repeat, this is going to be very different. We got Lee Salz in the house. Can't wait to bring him into the studio. Hey, thank you to everyone who's joining us out there. If you're new to Selling from the Heart, we're so glad you're here. You've joined a growing community of sales professionals that are dedicated to being genuine, being authentic, building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. And the good news is, if that's you, if that resonates with you, you're not alone. There's people like you all over the world. And we love giving a shout out to our friends every week.
You know, absolutely. I just had a wonderful conversation with a great sales leader by the name of Tracy Curtis. And Tracy, if you're listening, keep up the great work because I love how you lead with your heart and you bring business conversation and business acumen into your sales team. I appreciate you.
Hear, hear. Well, and that's a great bridge into our conversation today. We're joined in the studio by one of the most respected voices in sales strategy, a man executives turn to when they're facing their toughest performance challenges. His name is Lee Salz. Lee is our friend, and he's the founder and CEO of Sales Architects, an internationally renowned sales management strategist, best-selling author, and award-winning keynote speaker who specializes in helping companies build world-class sales forces. One thing I love about Lee is he is known as a sales contrarian. He doesn't settle for the old school, outdated playbooks that don't work anymore. Instead, Lee challenges sales teams and leaders to think differently, develop stronger processes, and adopt tools that drive explosive and profitable growth. And now, with his brand new book, The First Meeting Differentiator, Lee is helping sales professionals everywhere master the most critical moment in the sales process. The first meeting. It's not his first meeting with us, but he's here back again today. Lee, welcome back to Selling from the Heart.
Nice to be here, but I'm not happy. I told you last time I expected my 5 timers jacket to be waiting for me. Where is it?
It's custom manufactured right now, Lee. It'll just be patient.
Come on, Lee.
I'm hearing excuses. I want my jacket.
Well, hey, one thing's between you and the jacket is the answer that we've heard before, but I have a feeling that today's answer is going to be different. Lee, what does it mean to you to sell from the heart?
You know, it's one of the most important things, not only for salespeople, even sales leaders, is everything has to come from the heart. It means being genuine. Because, you hear it like in prospecting. If your message is for everyone, it's for no one. And the same thing when we talk about first meetings. If your first meeting is designed for everyone, it's for no one. It has to come from the heart.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you got to unpack that a little bit more, Lee. Nah, come on. You got it. That was a good response. You got to unpack that a little bit more because I like where you're going with this.
Yeah, so personalization has never been more important in sales, right? There's this new fad that came out a while ago. I think it was called the internet. And now there's this other thing called AI. And there's a lot of fear that salespeople are going to be replaced by AI, right? I'm sure you've heard that plenty. But the key is to really come across from the heart. And there's actually a chapter in my new book called Empathetic Expertise. That's chapter 5. And it's around emotion, which is the deal energizer. There's an expression in sales. I'm going to venture to guess you've heard it 4 million times. You ready? People buy based on emotion, justify their decisions with logic.
Yep.
Right? Did I get it right? You've heard it 4 million times?
Absolutely.
Now 4 million and one, Lee Salz.
There you go. I'll bet you the deed to my house. You ready for this? If we recorded a first meeting across all different industries, countries all around the world, if we did 100 of them, 99 of that 100, the entire conversation was logic, maybe even all 100. So every salesperson on the planet has heard the expression, people buy based on emotion, justify their decisions with logic, but nobody's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally had this epiphany, as we've talked about in the past. I have 2 sons that played college baseball. And for those of you who don't know, Larry Levine's a huge Dodgers fan, Daryl's a huge Blue Jays fan, and I'm a diehard Yankees fan, and I'm not very happy today, but we're not going to talk baseball right now, except about my sons. And I remember when they were first learning the game of baseball, little kids, and the coaches would say, the name of the game is hit home runs. And big smile, they'd say, got it. Guess what? Nothing changed in their game until they were taught how to hit home runs. We preach to salespeople. People buy based on emotion, justify their decisions with logic, but we haven't taught them how to engage emotions properly. And that's what I do in chapter 5 on empathetic expertise. Empathetic expertise, I think the more you hear about it, it dovetails nicely into everything from selling from the heart. There's 3 words that when you think about people you've done business with repeatedly, that you say, this is why. It's because of low price. No, just kidding. Because they possess empathetic expertise, and the 3 words for that measurement, they get me. Me. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to share a story with you. I'm going to bring us down just a little bit, but I'll bring us back up. Last August, we had to put our dog Rocky to sleep. We had adopted him. We had him for 15 years. When he was 13 and a half, he was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and they told us he just had a few months to live till he was a little over 15 years old. And as we were getting near the end, we started having that uncomfortable conversation in our home that, kind of getting to that finish line. And we said, we want to do the euthanasia process in our home to be most comfortable for him. So we reach out to our vet, and our vet doesn't provide that service, but he gave me 3 names and phone numbers of vets that do. So we finally get to that day where we just can't go anymore. I mean, he's miserable. It's time. Hardest phone call I ever had to make. Sitting on the deck, bawling my eyes out. And the woman answers the phone, and her voice was never louder than this. And she called him Rocky. She called him your sweet baby. And she said, I understand what you're going through. I'm going to make this process as easy as possible for you and your family. I still get misty-eyed, Remember I said my vet gave me 3 names and phone numbers? I made 1 phone call. Because she came across as having empathetic expertise. I felt she got me. And I have to tell you, the veterinarian, she wasn't a vet, by the way. She was just an intake person. The veterinarian, same thing. When she came here, her voice was never louder than this. She sat quietly for some time. I mean, it was about as nice of an experience you can have in a euthanasia process. But that when you talk about selling from the heart, I mean, this woman, think about it. All day long, she's taking these calls. That's all this practice does. And she came across in such a way I felt like I was the only one that she's ever dealt with and is going to deal with.
Mm.
We forget that in sales, right? I'll ask salespeople, how many conversations you have with prospects and clients on any given day? 10, 20, 40? And they'll say, yeah, that's somewhere around there. It's okay. And how many conversations did each of them have with your company on that day? One.
Mm-hmm.
And we forget to make people feel special. It's just another call. It's just another meeting. It's just another presentation. It's just another proposal. And if you want to talk about an opportunity, you have to differentiate yourself. Caring matters.
Yep.
And I know I'm pulling it from your playbook here, but it absolutely does.
I love that. I love that perspective, Lee. And by the way, congratulations on the book. Just another phenomenal book. Had the opportunity to review it, and it is fantastic. I can't wait for people to get their hands on it. It's the First Meeting Differentiator, transforming sales-focused discovery into client-centric conversations. So you've already contrasted those some, but sales-focused discovery. I think of my sales training back in the day where we had the page full of zinger questions and we were just waiting for the moment, kind of like fishing when, something hit the lure and we're going to yank the line back. How does that different from client-centric conversation?
Well, I'm on a mission right now to eradicate the sales world of discovery. You mentioned it. You mentioned in the opening, I'm a sales contrarian. There it is.
I love it.
I'm on a mission to get rid of it. And here's why. Think about how salespeople prepare for discovery. I'm going to make a list of questions I'm going to ask and the message points I'm going to share. And I'll ask them, I'll say, so if I take a meeting with you, what do I get out of it? And they'll go quiet for a while. And they'll say, well, you'll learn about my company and what we offer.
Right.
Not meaningful value. But they'll give me a puzzled look because they don't know why. I said, let me explain this to you. There's two types of sales, and I'm going to explain in the context of a bathroom setting. Now, before you get nervous, it's not that type of bathroom conversation. Okay, you ready?
Fire away.
Okay. You buy toilet paper. I sell toilet paper. But you don't buy my toilet paper. You buy a competitor's toilet paper, and I say you should be buying my toilet paper because it's superior. That's a takeaway sale. Okay? The other type of sale is demand gen. You buy toilet paper, I sell bidets, a new way to solve an old problem. Most salespeople are in a takeaway sale. So think about what that means. They already have a provider. They have a supplier in place. And you're saying, meet with me, even though you've got 400 to-dos on your desk. And I don't get anything out of that interaction. Yeah, that's just not going to work. I don't need to learn about yourself because I already have a supplier in place. So let's try again. What do I get out of that meeting? And they'll just look at me like I have 14 heads. Now, I know from being in the 5-Timers Club, your audience loves free things. And I'm going to give you a URL. It's going to be a tough one to remember. If you go to meaningfulvalue.com, you can download my tip sheet that gives 10 ways to provide meaningful value without them buying your stuff.
Love it.
And here's the key. Once you define that meaningful value, what they get out of the meeting, now you've folded into your prospecting, because prospecting is so hard because we've conditioned the general public to believe, and rightfully so, the only time to meet with a salesperson is when you're looking to buy something. But once you define that meaningful value, then you can add that in and say, by the way, Larry, when we get together, I'll share with you a strategy that CFOs are using to creatively reduce manufacturing costs. Oh, I'm going to learn something when I get together with Lee. I'll take that meeting.
Hey, you know what's... By the way, Lee, meaningful value, you already know this is near and dear to us. It's selling from the heart because it's the second pillar in the trust equation. So I want you to expand on this because I think you're onto something. This whole meaningful value, and we preach this here, is what salespeople believe is meaningful value is not what others think meaningful value is. Agree?
Totally agree. And what's really important is that you color it with the word meaningful.
Yes.
We like to say just value. I did a workshop last week in Nashville, and I was trying to make this concept that, stick with them. I said, I could have come out here in my wife's beach hat and a tutu. That would have been different.
Mm-hmm.
Not meaningfully different, not meaningful value for you.
Yeah.
And they all started laughing, but they got it. It has to be something that they care about. Well, how do I figure out what I care about? Well, you go into this little thing, you may have heard of it, called ChatGPT, and you take a role, take CFO, because we mentioned them before. What are the main things that CFOs are concerned about today?
Yes.
And the key is today, because it's a moving target. And you'll get a list, let's say, of 10. And then what are the ones that you can address? Maybe there's 4. Then you say, okay, I'm going to put together what I call a decision influencer analysis. And there's a workshop in the book to do this. The 4 things that you can address for them, you put that in the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, how can you address that for them? Now you have clarity around the meaningful value you can provide, because here's what's keeping them up at night and how you can help them with that.
I think that's so powerful. And I think when you said the word today, that is so critical, because I mean, the marketing department, sales enablement department feeds us all this stuff about here's how to talk to a CFO and here's how to talk to so-and-so. But the real issue is what's on their mind right now. And yes. I love the tools are out there to figure this out really, really quickly. And I think being on top of this, one of the most important things I think as sales professionals we need to do is we need to stay current. We need to be on top of what's going on. We need to read some stuff, pay attention to what's going on in the worlds of our clients, so we can actually have these meaningful conversations.
Have you had Antarctic Mike on your show?
Yeah, number of years ago. Yeah, number of years ago. Yeah.
He's a dear friend, and he's got an expression that I've embraced. And this, again, gets right to selling from the heart. Person before prospect. Until you understand them as a person, you can't possibly have them as a prospect. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And I quoted him in the book when I referenced that.
Hey, what's interesting in playing on that is, and this all ties into this first meeting, is for so many years, Lee, we've been coached as salespeople that this is how this first meeting goes, and it's almost so
discovery. It's all for you.
Yeah,
it's an egocentric step of the sales process.
Yes, because the light shined on us. And it's not right. This all goes back to, this isn't a closing problem. This is a first meeting problem.
That's it. As Mark Hunter says, it's an opening problem.
Yes. I love that.
Yes.
Yep. So an interesting story. When I was writing this book, I'm a huge Law and Order fan. I think we've talked about that before. And it came back as a reboot. And a couple of seasons ago, there was an episode where a prosecutor was very frustrated with a case he was trying. He said, I've got all the evidence I need to convict, but I can tell the jury's not with me. So he goes into the district attorney, he takes him through the case, and the district attorney says, the problem with your case is it's all fact, no heart, and the jury isn't buying it. All logic, no emotion, and the jury isn't buying it. And I go, wait a minute, I'm writing a book here, and I've got a chapter on empathetic expertise. So attorneys are using emotion to affect jury decisions. Well, that's interesting. Now, I know Law and Order is ripped from the headlines, so I can't use that as a source. So I interviewed a judge, a prosecutor, a litigator, and a trainer of litigators in how they use emotion to affect jury decisions. And the conversations were fascinating. I tell the stories in the book. What the prosecutor said was, I'm going to take the jury on a journey. Say that fast 3 times. The jury on a journey from having the ability to convict to having the desire to convict. Bring that around to sales. The ability to contract with us to having the desire to contract with us. And then he went on to say, if I've got a firefighter on the stand, I'm not asking fact-based questions. I'm asking emotive questions. Like, what did you feel when you entered the building? What did you feel? He said, I want the jury to feel like they were in that fire with the firefighter. And if you think about what we do in sales, we ask all fact-based questions. What we should be asking is emotive questions that give us information, but also how they feel about the information they're conveying to you.
I love it. So would you be kind enough to coach us on that a little bit? Like let's see that in practicality. What would a question that is emotive
I'm going
to
give you a real one. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah. Here. Yeah. This is good. This is so powerful.
Hey, by the way, while Lee's doing that, the Jeopardy theme song's playing in the background.
Oh, great. This is a real one. So I have a client that manufactures wood doors, custom wood doors.
Okay.
And they're trying to get meetings with architects that can affect the decision for which wood doors are selected.
Wow.
So,
that sounds like such a technical, boring,
yes,
spec-based, like
right?
some wooden door. Wow. Okay.
So their point was, I'm asking information like, what are the capabilities of your current manufacturer?
Right.
Right. And that's an example of a fact-based question, and you're going to get a factual response back.
Right. Especially from an architect.
Exactly.
Right.
And if you think about the work that architects do, I'm trying to find this exact question here because we came up with a really good one. Come on. That's what happens when you have a 600 slide deck. Here we go.
It's time to open the door on another slide, but on.
There you go. We'll be here all week. Try to feel.
That's right.
What
shape are the doors your current manufacturer?
Okay, here we go. All right, I just found it. So a fact-based question is, what capabilities does your current wood door manufacturer have? Here's an emotive version of that. Can you share with me a time when you've worked really hard to create a design that your demanding client loves, only to have your manufacturer tell you it couldn't be done?
Oh, how did that feel? That's great.
Right?
Okay.
Now, the difference between those two questions is the first one, the fact-based one, I'm going to get a piece of information. No color to it, no flavor to it. I want color and flavor. That second question, when you think about this architect pouring their blood, sweat, and tears into this, and they get the client all excited about it, and then the manufacturer goes, that's fiction, man. We can't do that. And so that's where we have to get much better with the questions we're asking. It was interesting. I Googled emotive questions, and maybe people call it something else, but no one is talking about emotive questions.
Interesting.
And that's something I'm doing a lot of work with clients and saying, okay, give me the fact one. We'll start there. Now let's add some color to it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Lee, I want to still go down this road. It's the question's why don't you think a lot of sales leaders, insert title, whatever the title is, who's coaching your salespeople, why do you think they go down this path of asking these emotive questions?
I think it's a lack of recognition. Just like I said with the baseball example, right? We say people buy based on emotion, justify decisions with logic, and it's no different with the sales leaders. But if they were never taught, how can they possibly teach others?
Yeah.
Right. That's the missing piece. I'll give you another one. Again, you call me a sales contrarian. We've told salespeople the way you share information is features and benefits, right? That is the age-old expression. We share features and benefits. Well, there's a chapter in the book, features, benefits, and boredom. You share features and benefits if you want to put people to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
See, one of the things that we're up against, are you familiar with the name Herman Ebbinghaus?
No, never heard.
This is a name you should familiarize yourself with. 1800s researcher, and he conducted a memory study and developed what's known as the forgetting curve. And it's still valid today.
Mm-hmm.
And what he found is that people forget 50% of what they learn in 24 hours and remember less than 10% a week later.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a 1 hour first meeting, they remember about 6 minutes of it a week later. And the challenge we have, back to this discovery issue, we think about, what do we want to tell them? What we should be asking is, what do we want them to remember?
Mm.
And when you think it from that context, now again, you think about meaningful value, and your approach is much more around, what do I want to stick? So in the book, I lay out how to construct these stories in an emotive way, in a memorable way, and the features and benefits are folded into the stories. And people are much more likely to remember a story than, oh yeah, that widget comes in 3/8 of an inch.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, Lee, I'm excited about this book, and I can't wait
Thank
for
you.
people to get this in their
Thank you.
hands. So I know everyone's asking the question, how do I get this book, and how do I get more Lee Salz in my life?
Oh, well, I don't know how my wife's going to feel about that, but well, you can get the book wherever you like to purchase books. Of course, it's on Amazon. It's in hardcover, Kindle, and audiobook. And if you like listening to my voice, I am the narrator. So I did have the opportunity to create the audiobook for this. The book officially releases on September 30th. That's when the hardcover starts shipping out. And the audiobook and Kindle are available right on that date of September 30th. And you don't have to wait, though. You know, if you go to firstmeetingbook.com, you can download the first chapter right now. And there's bonuses up there. I'm not going to tell you what the bonuses are. When you go to firstmeetingbook.com, if you buy the book, make sure you go there and take advantage of the bonuses.
Super duper.
Hey, this is really good, Daryl. Before we sign off, I just got to ask Lee this. So you got to give us 60 more seconds. So first meeting, give us one more just golden nugget that someone's going to read, that someone's going to glean when they read the book, something that says, you know what, I'm going to take that and I'm going to integrate this into my first meeting to create that differentiation. What would that be? One good golden nugget.
I'll give one more nugget. Okay, so let's say you've had this great first meeting, everything's gone well, and everything's wrapping up. And it could be virtual, could be in person. It's the first meeting. Everybody's feeling good. And so often, what do we say? Hey, I'll send you an email next week and we'll schedule a time to pick up the conversation. No! Every first meeting that has gone well has to end with defined next steps and a scheduled next interaction.
Here.
It's so easy, right? The meeting's just kind of winding down and the air is leaving the room and you just go, yeah, I'll follow up with you next week. That's how you get ghosted.
Yep.
That's how you have long sales cycles. That's how they forget your meaningful value. Right then and there, when the energy is highest, that's when you schedule that next step.
Beautiful.
Can I give you one more?
Good.
Larry,
Yeah.
you guys are going to love
Double
this.
bonus, folks.
A double bonus. Okay. So again, I'll bring the room down for just a moment. My grandfather on my father's side passed away when I was 2 years old. And a few years later, my grandmother started dating this other gentleman. And of course, as you know, we're a Jewish family and she's living in Brooklyn, New York. And the gentleman she started dating, an Italian gentleman, Brooklyn Italian. And I credit him with teaching me about manners. He'd say, don't cost nothing to hold the door open. Pull out a chair. Say please and thank you. And his line was always, I gave up the meatballs for the matzo balls. But, he taught me something that was really important, and it's an important message for us in sales. Don't forget to say thank you for investing time with me today. Not spending time. Not spending time. Thank you for investing. Remember I said they have 400 things on their to-do list? They put those aside. If they gave you 5 minutes, if they gave you an hour, whatever minutes they gave you, thank them for investing time with you. Meatballs for the matzo balls, baby.
I love it.
So good. Well, thank you for investing time with us, Lee Salz.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
There
for having
you
me.
go.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Lee Salz, folks. What a great conversation. I'm excited about this. This concept of empathetic expertise is one of the things I'm not going to forget from this conversation today. Being able to you got to bring the goods. You got to be an expert. You got to have something to say. But the way we say it and the way we go about these first meetings is so critical. And I thought Lee's perspective on this is it's just fantastic.
it ties into our whole conversation just ties into this philosophy around one word that just sums us up as comfortable. And here's where I'm going with this. And it just underlines what Lee was saying in our conversation is the more comfortable you make somebody feel in that first meeting, the more comfortable they'll soon become. And when they become so comfortable with you in that first meeting, they start telling you business secrets. And those are the things they're not sharing with other people because you've connected to their heart.
That's absolutely right. Well, I encourage everyone go grab a copy of Lee's book, get the bonuses, the First Meeting Differentiator. All the links are in the show notes, and let's cheer Lee on because this is an incredible concept for all of us to not only read but also to take in and put into practice. So, Larry, I'm excited. We got great stuff coming up ahead here on Selling from the Heart, and I love the energy around this community.
What's really, it warms my heart is every day to see somebody posting something about selling from the heart. I remember this journey at Selling from the Heart started because of this podcast 9 years ago. So I'm just grateful for everyone who's been on this journey. Continue to wave the flag around Selling from the Heart, and let's eradicate all the empty suits that are out there, Daryl.
That's right. So as Lee said, thank you for investing your time with us today. Until next time, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep building trust, differentiate your first meetings, and most of all,
Sell from the heart.